Before I really get started on this crazy, wacky challenge, I'm a pour over guy. I like style, I like flavor, I like intensity. I like a balance of sweetness and acidity. If people can really get sweetness out of light roast, I want you to explain to me what you mean by it. Is that you're going to be on the journey with me, I hope. Before I really get started on this crazy, wacky challenge, as I'm thinking right now, I want to first talk about the coffee drinker that I am right now. That should help me understand the situation I'm going through, obstacles, the likes and dislikes, and all that. So, I'm a pour over guy. I really am. I love pour overs. It was almost love at first sight after the French press stuff. But I'm a pour over guy. I like the Harvey V60. I like the origami dripper. I like anything that's mostly a cone shape. And I'm coming around to flatbed brewers. I like a basic, normal filter. I understand fast filters, but I think they're kind of a little overrated. I think coffee tastes the way it tastes. Mainly, I don't know if that's because I'm a roaster and I've done so many different profiles, and after the end of the day, the coffee's personality is what it is. Can you change things in the brew? Of course you can. You really can. But at the end of the day, I'm a pour over type of person, and I get my satisfaction, my kick from that. Sometimes I'll play around with the AeroPress. Sometimes I'll do like an immersion brew with the Switch or the Bonavita. But for the majority of the time, I'm a pour over guy. Espresso from time to time. Probably once, twice a month. Which is kind of interesting. I wonder if a lot of people are like that. Either you're one way or the other as it comes to coffee. That's one thing that I've noticed. Don't really mess around with cold brew as much. It's okay. It can be exciting depending on the coffee, right? I actually like a lighter roast in the cold brew. Kind of just brings a little bit more out of it than something that just kind of mellows out, gets muted with a medium and a dark roast. But whatever. I am a medium to dark roast person. But now, as I've been drinking a lot of coffees lately, I think I'm more of a dark roast person. But not just any dark roast person. I like style, I like flavor, I like intensity. I like a balance of sweetness and acidity. Believe it or not, that comes alive to me quite a bit in a darker roast. Yes, it can tend to be a little too sweet. It can be a little too muted, depending on the coffee, if I'm using like a Brazilian coffee. But for the most part, it kind of just works. I can manipulate it. I can go high temperature. I can go low temperature. I can play around with acidity a little bit more to bring it out more in a cone shape filter. It just speaks to me. And I think I'm kind of like a unique unicorn in that case, as it comes to specialty coffee. A lot of people tend to be more so lightly roasted type of folks. I despise it most of the time. I actually had a good cup yesterday. It wasn't bad, probably because my expectations were very low. And I used the Clarity King, as they say. ZP6. It was pretty good. It was actually pretty good. It was a Kenyan light roast. I've had it many times. But yeah, Lightly roasted coffees, I used to like them. They used to talk to me. I didn't really get so much of a sweetness out of it, and I still don't. If people can really get sweetness out of light roast, I want you to explain to me what you mean by that. I want you to tell me or explain to me what you're tasting, because I don't get it. The biggest thing that light roast does for me that I've noticed is that it's just a complexity of acidity. So many different things that can happen with acidity. And at first, it's pretty interesting. But then even in that same cup, it can get boring, be one-dimensional, even though it's complex. It doesn't do it to me like other people have described it for them. And that's perfectly fine. For some odd reason, medium roast to me is starting to taste like lightly roasted coffees. There's no real balance. There's no sweetness now. It's just darker. Which kind of hurts my feelings if I think about it correctly. I don't know why that's the case. Sometimes I can get a little bit of sweetness out of that coffee. But I have been dealing with a lot of fruit-forward coffees. That could be more so the problem. Probably should go back to the chocolatey, type of nutty type of taste of coffees. Seeing how they do with my palate. See if I can get that balance. Again, it's not 50-50. It just has to have some type of character, some type of bend, some type of personality, something that tells me that you're not a one-hit wonder. You actually have style. You actually have character. You actually have something of a substance that I can actually gravitate to. And it's kind of crazy I'm talking about coffee like this, but I'm sure you do too. And as we're talking about coffee, I tend to gravitate to an African type of coffee, even a Colombian, if it's not too crazy wacky on the experimental side of processing. I do like washed coffees. They are losing their muster a little bit. But again, it could just be my selection of coffees. There've been a lot of fruit-forward coffees. Probably as I'm talking about this, just realizes that too much fruit can be a detriment to me. It's cool to taste cherry, strawberries from time to time. But if it doesn't have that natural sweetness in it, it kind of pisses me off. I've been talking about this quite a bit, and I don't know why I'm keep talking about things pissing me off. They are. And I don't know what this challenge is going to do to me. I'm going to have to be as objective, welcoming to the whole experiment now that I think about it. This is going to push me because I'm one way, as I explained. I tend to like things the way I like it. You know? I wouldn't even think about just making a pour over, not even thinking about it, have my ratios ready to rock and roll. Playing around with a third wave water, light, medium, and dark. It doesn't really matter. It just depends on the situation, depending on what I want to bring out in a coffee. I'm going to have to push that notion too. I'm going to have to start making my own water. Sorry, third wave. I got to push past all of this. I have to master this damn bastard. As I'm thinking and trying to contemplate and trying to see where this is going to go. This is the present state of my coffee state of the union, whatever it may be. My confessions, my things that I like about coffee, the things that really get me going, something that I think about each and every day. But it's interesting as I think about this right now is that I don't like everything in coffee. Just like you, I'm sure you don't like everything in coffee. I've talked about this many times. But as it is right now, before I actually get going on this challenge, this is the way I feel about coffee. Darkly roasted, African preferred, Colombian if it's interesting, pour over type of guy. I love coffee that has sweetness. It has acidity. Sometimes I like coffees that linger a little bit, depending on the grinder profile. I don't mind fines in my coffee. Clarity is pretty cool, but it could be over exaggerated, especially when it cools down. It kind of loses its luster. I don't know. I don't know what this is going to do for me. I don't know how big of a deal me confessing to myself about all of this. I guess the biggest thing here is that I just want to be able to, what's the best way to say this? Appreciate it all. I think that's really what it comes down to. Appreciate everything in coffee. I think that's more so like a homage or a salute to coffee, if that makes any sense. Because the way I get down with coffee, it's extremely magical, extremely great to me. But some things about coffee, I'd rather just have tea instead. But again, I think by me confessing or telling you or getting you to understand where I'm at as it is right now, the context of all of it, that's going to help you to understand what I hate, what I don't like, what I like a lot, what I do 10% of the time. So then we can be on the playing field of like things getting better, why it's getting better, the things that I'm going to be struggling with just because I don't like it, at least right now. And I wonder if I can get back to liking late roast. I don't know. Hopefully I can at least get back to liking medium roast. But like I said, I think the biggest kicker of me kind of seeing if I can master this is I can make any coffee. Not with 15 to 10 different types of trials, 2 to 3. That means I have to really understand exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and what kind of flavor profile that I want to get at. I think that's really what it's going to come down to. I know this is kind of crazy just saying this right now, but now that I'm thinking about this, I have to change the approach that I have to coffee, my expectations, the things that I like, don't like, things that I care about, things that I don't, all that stuff all meshed together. But I'm going to have to like separate, analyze it, of course, enjoy. But ask myself, what am I chasing? What am I looking for in this particular cup? What am I getting from the smell of the coffee? And if I can get there, hopefully soon, about a year, I think it's going to be very magical. And again, the biggest kicker of all this is that you're going to be on the journey with me, I hope. Hopefully this gives you an insight of yourself for you to ask yourself those questions. Like, what kind of coffee drinker are you now? Do you feel shameful? Do you feel that you're not a part of the cool kids? Or you just like what you like? You don't care about whatever else? And that's what it is. Do you want to get better? Do you want to figure it all out? I do. And I know that I can't wait to share as much as I can with this whole thing as we go down this rabbit hole of mastering coffee. So yeah, Uzoki, Everyday Beans, letting you know, at least in the beginning of the year, what kind of coffee drinker I am. Talk to you later. Bye.